that there would be a child sent, okay, to redeem his people. Who is his people, man? The Israelites. All right? So when that star appeared in the sky, people knew that, okay, that star is guiding him, man. That star is watching over him. Just like the angels that surround us. It looks like stars when you see the chariots, man. But they're not stars. And if they really showed themselves, we'd probably faint from the glory of them things. Okay? In this flesh. Alright? I remember I had a dream. As a matter of fact, I'll hold that. I'll hold that for a second. Let me get back to this verse. Matthew 2:9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. So what was that star? That star was a chariot, man. We see those same stars today. This isn't speaking of the literal stars, man. The literal balls of gas out there. Because the star is not going to hover from one side of the sky and go somewhere else, man. Stars don't do that. All right? And we've had examples, some of us men in this truth, of chariots hovering in the sky above us, man. The Lord has shown me countless examples of chariots. And on my last page, I used to always, when I had the chance, put up videos of chariots that I've experienced, man. But they didn't get no views, though. People didn't care about that. Because this is for the elect. This is for a small number. Because people like controversy. People want to hear you arguing with somebody. They want to hear you yelling at somebody. Okay? They want to be entertained. They don't want to be fed and edified through a lesson with no type of interruptions, man. Okay? Because when you're in bigger cities and you're dealing with bigger crowds, for a lot of you, that's more entertaining. Okay? Now, when I was teaching on a different area, it's more busier than this side of town. People still didn't want to receive the word, man. Okay? And from what it's looking like, all right, I wouldn't be surprised if no one else gets delivered out of this damn city. I don't even know if I'm going to be delivered, let alone all these other fucks out here who's not even trying, man. Okay? When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were coming to the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Why? Because Herod was seeking to slay Yahushua, man. Okay? And Herod, he was an Edomite. Okay? And through the Spirit, Herod has to be here on earth today, man. Because when Yahushua returns, he wants vengeance from all of his enemies, man. So it would make sense that a lot of the people within our generation, if not most or all, were in the same time period of Yahushua. Because this is that generation that is going to see the grand appearance of Yahushua. Okay? And Yahushua is going to return on a chariot. Okay? The same chariots that look like stars when you look in the sky and see him right now at this present time. Okay? He's coming back in a chariot. And everybody's going to see him, man. And men like Herod, the men who pierced him, they're all going to have their reward. So let's get that. This is the book of Revelation, okay? Now the book of Revelation, this is the revealing. This is the revealing of Yahweh Shai, all right? And who was the revealer? John, Saint John, okay? So this is Revelations 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. So that lines back up with what I just read. Okay? He cometh with clouds. He maketh the clouds his chariots, man. So he's not literally going to return on earth in clouds. The Messiah is not returning on the clouds that you see now when you look in the sky, man. The things that look like cotton candy, that's not what it's talking about. All right? He's coming back in chariots. He's coming back in a chariot with chariots. Okay? Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so. Amen. Or Tawa, I believe is how you should say it. Okay, so if all eyes are going to see Yahweh Shai, that would have to be one huge shift, right? Because a man in our statue cannot be in the air and everyone sees him, even if he's on a quote-unquote cloud, okay? If somebody was in the air and they came on a cloud, they would look like a little spectacle. Every eye wouldn't see that. This is speaking of Yahweh Shai coming back in a chariot. And he's not coming back as a 6 foot tall man. Okay, he's coming back real tall. Who knows how tall? 15, 20 feet tall. Okay? On a huge chariot in his glory. He's not coming back as a man. He's coming back as an angelic force to conquer and to devour and to deliver and to destroy. All right? Who is he going to deliver? His elect. Who is he going to destroy? The 2/3 and the rest of the heathen. Okay? Because why? They wanted to join hand in hand with the heathen. They didn't want to get right. They didn't want to follow their heritage and their customs and partake in righteousness. They wanted to do their own thing. So when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's not only going to get his vengeance on those who pierced him, which are those Romans, those Roman men, the police officers, I should say, but also you 2/3 who caused him to be put on that cross. You 2/3 who accused him falsely, who laughed and mocked him to scorn. Okay? Who was talking about crucify him, and give us, what was his name? Barabbas, however you pronounce it, and he was a murderer. So that shows you the wickedness of 2/3, man. So when Yahweh Shai comes back on them chariots, he's coming back to destroy. In the same way that he went up, okay, when he was risen from the dead, out of the sepulcher, however you say it, okay, which is pretty much it's like a huge tomb. It's like a cave you walk in, and it's usually a place where you would put a coffin or, you know, some dead body inside of. All right? So Yahweh Shai, he was placed in a pretty nice sepulcher. Okay? But after the 3rd day, he was risen. And how was he risen? He was risen up in a chariot, which is the same way we're going to be risen up. Because the scriptures tell you that we are in the, pretty much we're in the land of the dead. So we would have to be delivered from the land of the dead. We would have to be delivered from these bodies, because these bodies are also considered to be chains of darkness, okay? To be chains of death. So the same way that Yahweh Shai was taken out of his body of death is the same way we're going to be taken up. Okay? Because after he went up into a chariot, after the third day, his body was took up in the chariot. So his body wasn't there. All right? And you had the Romans who were paranoid trying to guard the sepulcher because in their mind they was thinking somebody could easily just come and take his body and then say that it was a miracle from God. That was their mind frame. But even though they was guarding it, making sure that no one came and tried any funny business, they couldn't figure out how it happened. Why? Because it's all spiritual, man. And if you have a carnal mind, you will not understand the Bible. All right? And once we get delivered out of here in those chariots, we're going to be changed in the blink of an eye. By the time our bodies hit the chariots, we're going to have spiritual bodies. We are going to be in new bodies. We're not going to look like who we look like anymore. As of right now, the person you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing, you're not going to look like that when you get your new body. Okay? The only thing that's coming with you is your spirit. Now, if the Lord wants to take something else with you, he can. Because I believe it was Elijah that after he was beamed up in the eyes of Elisha, he saw it, his garment that came with him. Okay? But nevertheless, more than likely, you're just taking your spirit along with you. So by the time your body hits them chariots, your earthly body is going to dissolve away. And it's not going to be painful. It's going to be a painless transition. Okay? And once them chariots come and hit you with them beams and you get ascended up into the air, you're not going to have that spirit of fear on you. Because see, right now, something like that seems a little terrifying. But I believe through the spirit that by the time those beams are even touching you and you're ascending up, that spirit of fear is going to leave you. And by the time you're in the ship as a whole, this body's going to leave you. You're going to be in your spiritual body. Okay? And then as that's happening, you're going to be looking down and you're going to see the destruction of this place. And this place is going to be destroyed in an hour. All right? And we're also going to go around the whole world once we receive our spiritual bodies and we come down from the chariots as the new heaven. Okay? When heaven comes down from them chariots, us, Lord willing, we be of that number. We're going to go around conquering the nations with our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. Under Yahweh Shai. Okay? Because Yahweh Shai, he's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And he's going to give us the order along with King David and the rest of the great men, which we don't know, you know, who may be of the 12 or who was some of David's mighty men on earth today or anything. But we know we are here. We believe through the Spirit that we are those men. I believe in the Spirit that I'm one of the men in the Scriptures. Okay? Through faith. All right? Revelations 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, which goes into reincarnation. Okay? Because those which pierced him died over 2,000 years ago. So how would they see the Lord when he comes back over 2,000 years later? You mean to tell me there's people on earth who's over 2,000 years old? If that's the case, because you know Esau, where they at? Because you know Esau's always about carnal things. He wants physical proof. So if there's men on earth who's over 2,000 years old, where's the physical proof? Okay? For you carnal minds out there. This is going into reincarnation. The men who pierced Yahweh Shai, they're here on earth in this generation to finally get their judgment. And it's not going to be a quick judgment, man. The Lord is going to make them suffer. Because those men who pierced him, they're going to make it to see them chariots, man. Okay? Which means they could catch a missile. They could catch a laser beam. Yahweh Shai may descend from them chariots himself and do something to them by his hands alone, man. We don't know. All right?